And of course, inflation's been in the news, and that's certainly affecting us on different levels, from food to gasoline to all kinds of things. And that does translate into how are people going to give? And of course, what you just mentioned, which is the increase in the cost of ministry, is going to be part of that inflation. But there's also a potential for less giving because of inflation for some folks, and maybe even job losses. Yes, the market's been high as far as the low, I should say, as far as the unemployment's concerned. But when the economy starts to go in the wrong direction, we know that changes. We know eventually people lose jobs, companies stop borrowing or aren't able to borrow, so they begin to reduce, and all that happens. So based on all of that, and what recommendations do you have for church leaders given these market changes and how it's impacting the churches?
Yeah. So let me speak to that about the economy and giving. Americans' giving is amazingly resilient. We're going to cover that in some of the mega trends a little bit later on, but I'm less concerned about the giving side of it than I am about the cost of funds and the need to increase giving substantially. Wages will begin to catch up, and Americans are very consistent in the percentage of their disposable income that they give, the percentage of the gross domestic product that they give. But these higher operating costs are what I think you're going to, that's where you're first going to encounter it. So my number one recommendation is to begin to talk about that. If I'm a church leader and I'm responsible for the ministry funding plan and the ministry spending plan, then I want to start talking about this. I want to start talking about it's going to cost more next year. We are going to have to make put more effort into raising giving to cover cost, or we're going to end up going backwards with our ministry impact. And we're going to talk about this, but your ability to impact lives in the name of Jesus Christ is the motivation for your donors. So when you do less of that, that will take our donors that are younger than the builder generation, and they'll want to shift to places that they see more impact. So we need to make sure that the conversation is about growing giving and not cutting spending. But the growing giving takes longer to ramp up. It's much harder to do. And if you don't start those conversations now and get people used to the idea, what's going to happen is knee-jerk reactions later on that will result in cutting spending.